Good afternoon and welcome. I would like to call this meeting, this July 2nd, 2024 special meeting of the NMU Board of Trustees to order. And I would ask at this time for Secretary Andrew to please take the roll.
Trustee Young,
Here.
Trustee Hart,
Here.
Trustee Patante, Trustee Sepinen,
Here.
Trustee Holmquist,
Here.
Trustee LaPointe Dunham,
Here.
Trustee Lindberg,
Here.
Trustee Toutant.
Here.
We have a quorum with 7 trustees present.
Thank you, Secretary Andrew. The first and only agenda item is the Police Officers Association of Michigan contract. I'd like to call on Vice President Leach to explain this agenda item to us and lead this discussion with our new union and the negotiated contract. Vice President Leach.
All right, thank you. I'm going to walk you through a little bit of history leading into it and then the contract details. I have Renee on the call. Shane, her and Rhea led the negotiations on this and did a really great job. So for some more detailed questions, Renee will be here to help me on answering questions. First of all, the POEM, how this came about is the POEM labor group petitioned the MERC, which is Michigan Employment Relations Commission, late last year to recognize NMU's police officers. There's 10 police officers at the university. POEM represents about 12,000 officers statewide with various municipalities and universities in Michigan. NMU police officers represented by AFSCME at the time. MERC granted the petition in January of this year. The police officers voted unanimously in favor of it in February. And that started the time period where we had to start looking at developing a brand new contract for the POEM group, which would separate out from AFSCME. We weren't able to start meeting with POEM by till June, but during that time, Renee and Rhea were putting together the pieces of the agreement to meet with POEM on. We started negotiations on June 13th, and we completed negotiations one meeting later on June 20th. So only 2 sessions to get this whole contract in place, which is pretty incredible. And I think, what really stood out is they really worked in a very collaborative and positive manner throughout the process, and then enabled this to move quickly and to come into a resolution. As a result of the contract, we did accomplish goals that will benefit both the university and the POEM union. It'll make our wages more competitive within our local market, as well as compared to other Michigan universities. Police officer positions are becoming more and more difficult to fill and retain, so that was an important thing for us. We adjusted the overtime rules to create a better work-life balance by adjusting the way comp time is managed. That was both a benefit to the employee on the work side, but also the university on managing the comp time. We brought sick leave rules in line with the majority of our groups on campus, and we clarified the workday scheduling that's a little different than other members that were in the AFSCME group. This is more refined just to police officers. And then we put in place some training that we had been doing for police officers all along, but we hadn't memorialized it into a contract. So the specific language changes, you'll have those materials, but I'll walk you through a little bit of a summary of those changes. First of all, we have the work schedule, clarifying the 8, 10, 12-hour shifts. These are specific language for police officers. We clarified the overtime rules, adding compensatory time earned to cap at 240. And if it goes in excess of that, it has to be managed by the employer, improved by the employer. And that gets away from runaway comp time and makes it difficult to manage as you go forward. We think this is a good thing for both the university and the employee. Probationary period, again, that's where we put in the field training officer program, that they complete that. I mentioned sick leave, that would be brought in line with our other groups. We entered into a 3-year term, which would begin July 1st, 2024, and end June 30th of 2027. The wages that we came to agreement on was a 2% increase, which would be normal for this year, but we also did a market adjustment of $1.30 per hour, which puts us in line with our UP peers as far as the rate of pay. And then in year 2, a 2.75% increase, and year 3, a 2.5% increase, which is more in line with our normal increases as we go forward. The wages increases adjustments, again, were intended to ensure we're competitive in the area. And we feel like this is a fair contract and a good contract for both sides. And again, I just really want to reiterate and thank Rhea Deaver and Renee Sheen for doing such an outstanding job of pulling all this together in such a short window. And then being able to accomplish it in just 2 sessions is pretty incredible. So really shout out to you, Renee, and to Rhea, and as well as the other bargaining team members, which Mike Bath was on there and Heather Hop from Benefits, as well as the union reps, our police officers, Tim Porzoin and Greg Carrier. They all worked great together and were able to accomplish this. And again, Renee, thank you for your leadership on pulling it through. So at this point, I'd like to turn it back over to the board for a recommendation to approve the 3-year agreement with the POEM bargaining unit.
Okay, thank you, Gavin, and thank you to Renee and everyone involved, and Rhea. At this time, I'd call for a motion on the contract. Trustee Sepinen.
Mr. Chair, I move that the Board of Trustees approve the negotiated agreement between Northern Michigan University and the Police Officers Association of Michigan, which has ratified by the union on June 20th, 2024, for the period of July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2027. That's my motion.
Thank you,
Second.
trustee. Thank you, trustee. I have a second from Vice Chair Hart. Is there discussion on the motion, or trustee Sepinen, would you like to speak to your motion?
I just want to say a couple of things, and touching base on what Mr. Leach has pointed out, but I want to make sure the board emphasizes some of those facts. I see this as another step in keeping with the board's goal of investing in our employees. And I was very, very pleased to see that the working relationship with this new union was, how do you want to say, substantiated by the union ratifying this contract unanimously. That does not happen very often. And also, in regards to recognition of those that made this possible, Renee Diver, Rhea Driver, Renee Sheen, Mike Bath, and Heather Hop. On the police bargaining team, we had Tim Frosland and Greg Carrier. They did a great job in pulling this off and moving us forward. I think this is indicative of the direction that the university is headed. Another positive step that we've had in the last 2 years, and I think we're on a very good roll.
Well put, trustee Sepinen. Is there further discussion? Okay, seeing none, I would ask Secretary Andrew to call the roll on the motion made by trustee Sepinen.
Please indicate with yes or no. Trustee Young,
Yes.
trustee Hart,
Yes.
trustee Sepinen,
Yes.
trustee Holmquist,
Yes. Sorry about that.
trustee LaPointe Dunham,
Yes.
trustee Lindberg,
Yes.
trustee Toutant.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Secretary Andrew, and thank you to the board. President Testament, would you have any comments you'd like to make?
Thanks, Chair Young. No, just echo the gratitude to both sides of the bargaining table, Renee and Rhea, others on the administrative side, and of course, the POAM negotiators. Very happy to see this agreement reflect again our investment in the people that make Northern tick, and in this case, the folks that help make our campus as safe and positive as possible for our students, faculty, and staff. So appreciative to see this deal get done, and appreciate the board's support. All of you have made it clear that you are aligned with us in trying to turn a new page and reflect the commitment and investment we have in our employees. Thank you.
Well said. That is our only agenda item to our trustees, and there being no further business before the board, we stand adjourned.